What is going on, everybody? This is SStock21 welcoming you to my YouTube channel.
That's a pretty fancy intro you got right there, isn't it? Mm-hmm.
What is going on, everybody? This is SStock21 coming to you with another story. Now, this story, I'm not really sure why I'm on this subject because I just told you about a broken bone, so I'm going to tell you about another broken bone. This is about the time that I broke my nose. Okay, so it starts off just like any other day. I'm going to go play soccer. I play indoor soccer in the winter because it's fun. It's kind of like hockey, but with a soccer ball. So that's what I do. So I get all of my stuff, I put it in my car, and I drive to the indoor soccer place. I get there about 15-minute drive. It's not too far. Put on all of my stuff, get ready, start warming up, playing around with my friends, kicking the ball around and all that. And then finally the game before us ends and we get onto the field. So we're kicking the ball around, we're passing it, I'm shooting on goal just to warm up our goalie and everything. And after that, the game begins. So I go and I take my position. I was going to play forward that game because I kept bugging my coach and bugging my coach and bugging my coach that I wanted to stop playing defense and play up top because I'm pretty quick and I can shoot. So he said, all right, we're going to try you up top this game. So I line up on the right side because what we did is we had two defenders, one center midfielder, and then two attackers, one on each side. So I'm on the right side, and our center mid gets the ball for the kickoff. He starts it off. What he does is he passes it back to the left defender, right? So then I start my little route. Then he passes it up to the left forward, and then the left forward kicks it up towards the corner so I can go run up and get it because I'm quick, so I can get past people. So I go to run to get to this ball, and the guy that was on the other side who was defending me, he got a really good jump on it. So he was just kind of floating back and like running back, and he actually had his back turned to me, and he tried to kick the ball instead of letting it hit the wall and then taking it off of there. So the ball was rolling towards our right side. So he tried to swing his right foot at it, and he missed. So the way that he spun himself after he missed is he had his left arm like complete extension out. And when he spun around, his left hand hit me across the bridge of my nose. So he basically karate chopped me to the face while I was playing soccer. So I got hit, my instant reaction, I dropped down, I put both of my hands under my nose, and I caught blood. I heard it snap. I heard my bone break. It was like a click. Not like a pen click, not like a joint click, but I don't know how to explain it. It's like, geez, how do I explain it? I don't know. It was a click. It was a clicking sound, and it wasn't normal because I didn't hear it outside. I heard it from inside my head. So that I knew something was wrong. So I heard the click, and I dropped down, and I caught the blood. Instantly, my hands were full, and it was already overflowing, like 2-3 seconds, tops. And I wasn't screaming. I wasn't crying. I wasn't like, oh my God, you broke my nose. I was on the ground, and people were like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay, man? I'm like, no, he broke my nose. So then, after a couple minutes of me trying to stop the blood there on the field, which never worked, I got up and I tried to walk off the field, and I did. I didn't fall over or anything. I walked off the field, and I'm like hunched over, holding my nose. And someone gave me a towel, I believe. It might have been paper towels or a towel. I'm not really sure. That part's kind of fuzzy. But I put it under my nose to try and catch it. And then within like 10 or 15 seconds, it was completely soaked with blood. So I ended up going out. There's kind of like a lobby area. So I went out there and I sat down on the table. And my girlfriend at the time and her mother were there to watch me play. And I had only played like 8-9 seconds into the game, and it was already done because I broke my nose. So they're sitting out there. My girlfriend's mom is on the phone. She's tracking down where I should go because I had my broken nose, and they're like, oh my God, are you all right, and all that. And I'm like, yeah. It didn't hurt. It just felt like a bunch of pressure, kind of like someone was pinching the bridge of your nose as hard as they could. That's what it felt like. It was just pressure. And I finally got the bleeding to slow down to a point where you could just like wipe it and then give it a couple of seconds and then wipe it again. So I went to the bathroom to wash off. I had blood covering both sides of my hands, and then blood on my forearms from my wrists all the way to my elbows. And then I had it all down the front of my shirt, all down my shorts, my legs, all over my shoes, and in my socks. I broke my nose. It bled a lot. So I washed off what I could. So I left it on my legs and shirt and stuff because that was never going to happen because I'm using a sink. So how am I going to put my leg up there? I'm not going to try to wash my shirt. So I washed off my arms and my hands and just kept wiping the blood and all that. And it just felt like pressure. And then I looked up in the mirror, and that was pretty scary because the way that my nose was broken is that on my left side, it was pushed in. And then on the right side, it came up to like a peak because of the way that it was hit. So it was all swollen and it was blue, and I could see that there was kind of like this caved inside and a really, really big point. So that was pretty bad. We go to it was an emergency care center, not the ER, because I guess that's more expensive if you go to the emergency care. Whatever. So I went to the emergency care, and they had me wait in the lobby for like 25 minutes before they could get someone to see me. So they're like, all right, why don't you come on back? And I walked back there, and he was like, all right, you ready? This is going to hurt a lot. And he came up to my nose, and he almost touched it, and he was like, I'm going to push your nose back to place. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so bad. And he went, and I was like, oh my God, no. And he stopped, and he said, we don't do that. That's nothing that we've ever done. That's not a medical practice. I was like, what? He's like, you see it in movies all the time, right? Where the guy gets his nose broken in the fight and somebody just goes boop and pushes it right back in, right? Well, they don't do that because when you fracture something and then you push it back, it kind of refractures it, and then you can compromise the fracture. So at that point, I could either go from what I had to like all of my bones falling out of my face. So they don't do that. It's happened before. I'm not the first one to ever change the policy or anything like that. They just don't do that. So he told me what I had to do is I had to take this little bottle. It's called saline. It's kind of like a salty water spray, and I had to lean over a sink and spray it up into my nose and then let it run out. That way it would like get out all the blood and stuff because, you know, it really disturbed a whole bunch of junk. So other than that, he told me I just have to schedule with the face doctor. What was he? He's an ENT, so ear, nose, and throat specialist, to see what I'm supposed to do. So I scheduled an appointment with him, and then I went home. I went back to him, and he went over my nose. He was like, all right, well, this is what happened. You broke it here. You broke it here. This is how it formed. It's not moving. It doesn't have any, like, major complications. But if you look here, and he showed my mom, because she came with me, you can see that this is swollen, and this is swollen, and that's swollen, and that's swollen, and all of that swelling should have gone down by now, so that's probably permanent. And I couldn't breathe from my nose, so that was a pretty big problem. It really sucks when you can't breathe through your nose. It's really bad. Just trust me on that one. So we're like, all right, well, we have to get this fixed. So we scheduled an appointment to have surgery. It was just a basic outpatient surgery. So what I did is I had to go up to the hospital. They had to run all of their tests through and all that, make sure I wasn't going to die, and then I had to take off all of my clothes, and then they went to put the IV in. Now, the guy that did my IV is terrible. He tried it on my left arm, like up in my elbow, and failed 3 times. Then he moved down to the top of my left hand and failed twice. Went to my right elbow, failed twice, and then he went down to my right hand, and the first time he was like, oh, good, we got it. And he was like, wait, no, I have to pull this out. And I said, why? And I looked down at my hand. I had a bubble about the size of a bouncy ball because it wasn't doing it right. My blood was like trying to push it out. So he had to get a huge thing of gauze to catch all the blood. And then he tried again. He finally got it. So I went on an IV. It was just for during surgery so I wouldn't, die. And I was wheeled out, and there was a little clamp on there, and it was to sedate me. And he said, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this clamp off, and that's all I remember. I knew I was headed towards the room, I was on the table, and that was it. But anyway, story ends with, I came out, I woke up, it was like 3 hours later, because the surgery didn't take all that long, but, I still had to wake up and have time to wake up. So, woke up, and had plastic stents in my nose, which I had removed after it had healed and all that. And now I can breathe again. It just doesn't look normal. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I will see you guys next time. Alright guys, click the video on the left to take you to the previous video. Click my speed drawing of a 3D question mark on the right to take you to a random video. And as always, be sure to hit the big red button down below to subscribe.